family, welcome to today's video. I'm going to be talking about a special topic, and in the future I just want to let you guys know that I will be having more live stream events on my Facebook, so make sure that you follow me on my Facebook, which is Christie Ramirez. The link is down below, and all my other social media, including Twitter and Instagram, where I'm always updating as to what's coming up for my social events. And make sure that you also subscribe to my weekly newsletter on my website, which is christieramirez.com. And I just want to remind you all as well that if you're not yet a member on my High Vibes Only Club, you really should, because I'm always posting there the daily message of the day in the morning, so you basically can have ahead of time an idea as to what to expect for that day, how to best navigate the energy, and what the spirit angels are guiding us to do. What is their advice for that day? And we also do our daily affirmations and a gratitude journal that I've begun ever since the beginning of this year, as well as a daily lesson from A Course in Miracles. Now that book, A Course in Miracles, is 365 lessons, which is one for each day of the year. So that's why I've been basically religiously going over one lesson per day, and the energy always resonates with that lesson, so it's really helpful. And I have so many more good things there. The weekly guidance, it's basically my intuitive channeled message for the week, and the weekly astrology. So I go and break it down deeply day by day as to what's going on astrologically, and I interpret it for you, those energies. And that's basically how I want to begin today's talk. Oh, last thing, make sure that you follow me, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you're watching this video, you're obviously on my YouTube channel, but make sure that you subscribe, and you also share this video with others who you know can benefit from this guidance, because more people need to be aware of this, and this will bring more peace and more love and light into each individual's life, because the more that we get deep into the interpretation of the energy, not only the more prepared we are, but we also decide how we are going to react to those energies, and we can better prepare. That's the whole point of what I do, is for preparation and for healing and soul growth. So if you also want to book a personal session with me, I am a soul coach, and I do have a background in psychology and a master's in marriage and family therapy. So basically my personal sessions are guided towards counseling, and I also do some healing sessions and quantum sessions, basically where we go up into the ethers and we connect to your spirit guides and do some past life retrieval as well. So any of that you need guidance on your journey, book a session with me by emailing me directly at christieramirez.com, or you can just go to my page, to the bookings page under memberships, and book it directly. The calendar is there. I'm basically open right now Tuesdays and Thursdays, but if I get overbooked on those 2 days, I might open up another day. So go ahead and check out the dates there. And if you have a personal request on a certain time and day, then email me directly, and maybe we can figure something out. And I accept all payments via PayPal as well. Okay, and all of the sessions are via online, meaning that either through phone or through Zoom webinar meetings. So you will be sent directly your link and the password for that meeting for that day of your appointment. And any last thing, so on my YouTube channel, if you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, you'll notice that I've organized every video that I've done since the beginning of August 2019 that I began this business into different playlists. So all is organized into different categories. You have the spiritual book club, where basically you get samples of some of the sessions that I do. As part of your membership, you have access to all the books that we've been doing, and basically I do those like around once a week for like a happy hour. Instead of alcohol, we do something educational, which is a spiritual book, and we delve deep into it. And then I also have some random talks, lectures, and lessons that basically this is where this video is at. I have astrology videos, so every month ever since this year I've been doing an astrology video overview. Usually they're only for members, but there's a couple free, and I did put the May one free because the energies are very important for this May. We're at a critical point. If you don't make the right decision, you're gonna have to live with that for quite some time. So that's why I made it free. And I also do my on those lessons, I did some extra presentations and the astrology as well, special events like full moons that have particular significance. And then I also have every new and full moon, I do a spirituality retreat, which is basically a bonfire ceremony. So you really want to join me at those. I always post them for free after the actual live stream. The recording is up on my YouTube channel. And we do so many good things. Not only do we do the bonfire and healing session and our intentions rituals, but we also delve deep into the astrology talk of that particular astrological event. And then what else do I do? My School of Light, I provide some sample videos there of the different shows that I have there, and just the different educational content and resources that you can find as part of your membership. You get access to not only the club, but also to all the School of Light. Not the programs though, but there's another playlist for the program. So you can see there the trailers and what the programs are about. Make sure that you join my A New You Soul Coaching program. That's a 10-week intensive that basically this week we're going to complete the last week and we're done with that program. You can learn at it at your own pace. You can go back and rewatch those videos as many times as you want. So finally you dissect the information. And what else do I have there? I also have my Sacred Woman Healing Circle and Women's Forum playlist, where I will be posting more stuff there, because I have a program that is catered only to sacred women on how to become sacred again. So I'm going to be posting more, you know, information to, I guess, share with you what that program is about, because that's only for program members. So I basically am going to promote it more so that you can know what it's about. And then I also have a couples therapy talk show playlist, and in that playlist I'm going to be posting more. I've done already one podcast show for that particular topic, and there will be more ahead of time as I'm guided to do so, but go ahead and check out that first one. I also have a Gottman Therapy series program available for purchase on my page. So if you something that's interesting you, I know right now in the collective there's a lot of issues and tensions with relationships, and that's what we're going to talk about today. But basically go ahead and look at that, because that's going to be very helpful. And other things that I have there are basically, let me see if I can look up my YouTube channel. Before we get started on today, I basically want to let you in on everything that I do. And also make sure that on my Instagram, I have 2 Instagrams. Each Instagram has a different purpose. My first Instagram is my main one, which is Christie Ramirez _ There I post all the updates of the latest videos, etc. And then the Christie Ramirez _ art is where I post weekly, because it's usually not daily, artistic quotes and visuals and energy guidance as to what I feel that day. So it's just my way to be expressive and share with you what the energy are, to make you think. Basically it's like a thought of the day. It's really, really cool. All right, so let us go to my page to see what's going on here. All right, so let me have a little bit. It is very morning right now. It's Saturday morning, but I really felt guided to just come here and pop up with a random talk with you guys, because I slept a lot last night, and every time that I sleep a lot, it's like I'm downloading information. So as soon as I speak it out, all of the information that I downloaded comes through, and I understand better as well, crystal clear, what the angels and what the divine is trying to tell me and wanting me to communicate to the collective. All right, so I also have the Love Show playlist. I have 2 playlists for the Love Show, because the first Love Show series that I began was last year at the end of 2019. So you get the first season in one whole playlist. That's basically, I was talking more about love and relationships. But in this second playlist, the Love Show 2020, I've begun to do weekly love horoscopes for all the zodiac signs. So make sure that you look at that, because there's a couple already there. Those are weekly, so you really want to make sure that you check and look at the energy. And then what else do I have? All the playlists that I have, some tantric talk classes, samples that I've been sharing with you guys. If you want to learn more about tantra and the deep lessons, you have access to that as part of the School of Light membership. I also have a playlist specifically for my books and the magazine that I've basically launched. So if you want to have more information about those, you can check a look at the video. And You get the Venus magazine for free if you become a member. So I'll email that for free as a digital magazine if you become a member on my website. So those are basically the playlists that I've created, and one personal other one when it comes to soul coaching. So about my sessions, what kind of sessions I do individual, I do couples therapy, I do premarital couples therapy, I do all of it, okay? Because I do have a big background in psychology. So that's basically my mission. And now I want to delve into the energy, because the energies have been strong, and I really feel like this video today is really going to help us all to be able to live through it more calmly and more peacefully, because that was the message of the day this morning. And it's about learning to be in peace, but we need to understand these energies, because we can see the blessing in disguise. And I have already been seeing this as I've been doing research on this. But let me tell you that before I even looked at my weekend message in my High Vibes Only Club, I woke up a little bit very kind of moody. And I feel like that's what's going on in the collective, like not knowing what this energy over you is and how to deal with it. Why am I feeling this way? Why am I not happy if I have all that I have? Or what am I missing? Or the other thing that I've been getting is, after all this time that I wanted that thing, and now I have it, and I don't care. So in whatever way that can resonate for any of you, and I feel like that has to do more with love and relationships, because in my own life, for example, this has kind of been like the story of my life, okay? Like I've always had like this thing that, you know, I've crushed on people or had a certain connection with someone, but then for whatever reason, because divine intervention, we couldn't be together, right? And it just wasn't meant to be. But then after years later, after I've matured and I've learned my lessons and I've finally found truly who I am, and I'm glad that I am single, because I've gotten to know myself at such a deep level that I don't feel the need to have someone by my side. It would be the icing on top of the cake, but it wouldn't be the cake. I already have that cake fully baked, and I know my worth. And I feel like this is a collective message, because a lot of feminines might be feeling this, that it's like you've waited all this time for these past lovers, for example. Let's say it was past people, right? And suddenly now they want to be a part of your life. Suddenly now they're free and single to be with you. And now you're like, you know, I don't feel like about you that way anymore. Or I'm glad it didn't work out, because now I see the deeper purpose behind our connection in the first place. Like it was something that triggered you to either awaken deeper on your journey. It was a catalyst for your awakening, or it could have been any number of things. It could have been a test, a lesson for you as to really how well you respected yourself, because that word has been coming up strong, respect. And this not only relates to love and relationships, but because Venus is going retrograde, this respect also has to do with our self-worth, with the Sun in Taurus that we just had. Our worth in our financial career, in our stability, in our status and place in the world. We need to remember that it does not define us. And a lot of people have that confused, and that's why it's causing these self-worth issues and these depressions. Now, this is why I really wanted to talk about, specifically this video is going to be about the 4 retrogrades that are going on in May. This is huge, because this doesn't happen every year, and this is a kind of like a anomaly, like a very very rare transit and experience astrologically. Okay, so let us look up. First of all, I want to know what anomaly is. I'm pretty sure that's what it means. Okay, so there is no internet here. Anomaly, I'm sure that's what it means. Anyways, this is where, you know, you gotta go past the block sometimes, because I feel like it might trigger people, and I've been getting triggered as well. I'm like, dude, like, why you keep putting all these blocks and then you're telling me to do these things? It doesn't make sense, right? And that's where we really need to just trust, and that's where we're being called to really develop our character. You're stronger than you think. And here I have a new art piece that I did, You Are Stronger Than You Think. Okay, so I moved my other camera so you guys can now see my artwork, my art piece that I did the other day. You're stronger than you think, because that really reminds me that we really are stronger than we think, even when it comes to overcoming our emotions. our frustrations, our deep fears and wounds, that we can't let them get the best of us. Okay, this is about becoming strong from within, spiritually strong, and having that discipline to stay on mission no matter what. Okay, so I actually wrote a few notes yesterday, and I wanted to kind of fill in the blank here when it comes to these retrogrades, but I really wish I had internet here. All right, perfect. So I got the internet. So you see, it's just a little bit of adjustments that we need to do. And yeah, an anomaly is something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. So I definitely got that word right, even though I really didn't know. All right, so the Pluto retrograde that's currently happening right now, it's a 5-month period. So definitely, okay. So it actually started before May, but I think it's still significant. So it started on April 24th. All the way until October 4th. So this is a 5-month period before it goes direct again. Now let us look up Saturn. Okay, so all is well. I got it fixed. So basically, I just got up my other source of internet, and we gotta get this done, because sometimes when the message is difficult to get out, please don't let that get in the way, and just keep doing you. And today's weekend message was, don't let anything get in the way of your high vibration. Really, this is something that I've been really adamant about in my own life. I'm very stubborn, and when I'm in a high mood, I really don't want anything to get in that way. And this can include people trying to bog you down, or drama in life or around you. Don't take it personal, don't engage, and basically just walk the other way. Do you, focus on your things that you love to do, and enjoy the luxuries that are in your life, like the little pleasures that make you happy. That's what's gonna keep you sane throughout this time and very much in peace. Okay, so I felt like I really needed to say that, because a lot of people are sensitive to energies. And if you're especially sensitive to energies, then this energy applies even stronger to you. All right, so Pluto retrograde is a 5-month transition. So from May 2nd all the way until October 4th. Now Saturn retrograde is basically around a 3 to 4 month period. Let's put 4 months, because it ends on September 28th. Now the Venus retrograde to May 13th, which begins next week, to June 25th. So this is basically May to June. It's about a month. It's about 6 weeks, actually, 6 weeks specifically. Yeah, it's a 6-week cycle. And then finally, we also have Jupiter retrograde the next day after Venus. May 14th to September 12th. This is basically about also a 4-month period. So this is going to be something that we're going to be dealing for the next 4 to 5 months, even up to the next 6 months. So basically until the end of the year, beginning winter solstice, which is December 21st. And I've been channeling that date strongly every time. That is a strong date. So this is finally when we're going to be ready for this new beginning. So this 4-month period that's happening right now is really crucial for something. The angels last week told me that there is a message that the angels want to tell me today on the weekend. That very much came strong in everyday message, and it came out for the weekend astrology to really tune in to the angels today. And I feel like that's why I'm doing this video, because together we can kind of decode what is it that we need to know. So we're going to go deep into these energies today. All of these 4 retrogrades, I really want to know in specific how it's going to affect us in deep. So let me begin first with a channeled message that I wrote last night, and then we're going to go deep into the research, okay? And this can really help you plan ahead of time. That's what I'm going to do in my planner. This is basically my planner. And I already wrote for the next week all the retrograde dates, because that's going to be significant. And look at this. It's like 3 in the same week. That's a lot. With Pluto already going retrograde, and they're all in Capricorn except Venus is in Gemini. Saturn is basically in Capricorn because it's just in Aquarius for a few months. It's just like visiting Aquarius, and then it's gonna station back into Capricorn until the end of the year. So this is all very significant, okay? So what I wrote here, when these 4 planets go retrograde, remember this quote: great things never came from comfort zone. So we're really going to be challenged to get out of our comfort zone. I really feel that strongly. We're going to be triggered, but it's how you handle those triggers. Are you going to surrender and deal with it, whatever wounds want to come through? Because Pluto retrograde is about this deep healing, these deep transformations. With the full moon in Scorpio that we just had last week, they're very dark wounds, and they're also very deep fears that have been subconsciously blocking us and we don't even know. So this is going to get real. It really is going to get really real for us. And your spiritual awakening journey is also going to get real, because you're going to be experiencing more physical signs and synchronicities in your reality that it's going to make it impossible to escape, basically. So you're going to have no other choice but then to accept this love when it comes to this spiritual divine love, and this reality of what your true mission is. This is also about discovering your true mission, your dharma. And guess why? Because this Saturn retrograde, I wrote a few keywords for each, and I wrote here, it's about lessons, karma, it's the teacher, and it's our dharma, which basically is our spiritual mission, our life purpose. This is going to be revealed to you, and any, I guess, details that you've been missing from this bigger picture, the vision for your life. What is your life purpose? And when I say this, okay, it's deep. The way when I think life purpose, I've been hearing these 2 words a lot lately. First of all, what's your legacy? What are you going to leave behind when you're gone? And another thing that I heard was that what I do, for example, is my life's work. What is going to be your life's work? That's so much deeper than just having a job, a career, something that you love to do. But is it your life's work? Have you been training your entire lifetime and past lifetimes for this very moment? It gets that deep, and that's where we're being called to connect to. And if you don't have that feeling, that's what you're being called to kind of meditate on and journal, because in your journaling you will get these deep messages come out. And then with the Venus retrograde, which is only a 6-month period before it goes back station, that's why I also did the magazine for this Venus love story for the rest of the year 2020, because in that magazine you're gonna get your personal guidance, but also how the transits of Venus planet, which is a really big planet, is the brightest shining star in the sky. And it's the one that not only has to do with love and relationships, but also with our finance, our creative projects, our entrepreneurship, our business. So all kind of relationships as well, friendships, family. So all of that is going to be tested, and it's going to be rearranged. Okay, that's the word. So if you've been in an unhealthy partnership, trust me that it's going to come tumbling down. There's going to be major breakups as well for those who were not in a higher alignment. But there's also going to be major unions of these sacred marriages for those who have a spiritual purpose together here on earth. So it can go either extreme. And that's also something to take note of, because if something shocking or something unexpected or something devastating happens in your love life, don't be shocked and don't be surprised, because you already expected this, you see. And the more I do research of the past years, when I was awakened but not yet 100% awakened, I was experiencing these weird experiences when it comes to relationships, different people, my decisions, mistakes, and etc. And I didn't know anything about astrology back then. And this was only recent, like 3 to 4 or 5 years ago, right? And the more I start looking at past videos that people have been channeling from those times, the more it all makes sense. And the more I wish I would have had access to those videos, because I could have saved myself a lot of heartbreak. But that's where fate comes in, that if you're experiencing something that's very painful, don't beat yourself up because of it. Because chances are that if you have not had this spiritual knowing when you experience this, or when you got in a certain relationship, it's part of the journey. That's what you need to realize, because sometimes, you know, not everybody's meant to be awakened all the time, because then you can't really learn to not only have like this empathy for others, but more than anything, like they wouldn't have, like, it just changes the experience when you already know, you see. So if you're listening to this video, chances are that you've already awakened, and chances are that you're a light worker, and chances are that there's a reason why you're being called to listen to this, because it's going to save you from future painful moments, okay? Because you've devoted your life to the divine, and that's a blessing and an abundance that you get in return. That's your reward for being on mission. So if you're on mission and you're 100% dedicated your life to this mission, know that you're going to be 100% safe and protected, and basically in a bubble. But it doesn't mean that you're exempt from free will, right? And that's where we still need to be awakened to what's going on, because there's always going to be decisions on the path. You know, there's always a choice that you can make. You can always choose to go back, and that's called regression, and we don't want to go that path, right? We want to keep moving forward and keep moving up, ascending to the ladder, because that's another vision that I've been getting strongly. This ascension ladder that we're all climbing, especially the ones that are awakened. And with this split reality that's happening right now, especially I think when with these retrogrades, when all planets are retrograde, which is basically the last one to go retrograde is Jupiter on May 14th, which is basically next week, Thursday. I feel like that day is going to be like when all the portal is now open. Like the portal is going to be open on May 14th. Okay? But only for those who did the work. Only for those who accept the mission, including the work that involves being in the mission. It's like the requirement, you see. Light work is work. It's not just being a light worker and being happy and just being good vibes. There's actually work involved. And I've come to learn that lesson, and I work harder now more than ever. And it's funny and kind of ironic, right, that, you know, there's a lot of people out there without jobs right now, and God gave me this job that is basically my own entrepreneurship that I can work from anywhere. And trust me that I've been working more overtime now than before. So it's kind of like, you don't get a free pass of not working just because you're a light worker. On the contrary, you're gonna always have to show up, because there's always messages that are coming through you, even when you don't feel like it. Like today, to be honest, like I said, starting this video, it was very difficult for me to get up. And that's because I'm also sensitive to the energies. And I'm one of those light workers that I am more of a visionary, right? And I get a lot of visions and dreams, and my body needs a lot of rest, because in my dream state is where I get my messages, is where my light codes are upgrading, and where I'm basically being also kind of like regenerated after all this work I'm doing as I'm awake, right? And the channeling, because that takes energy, believe it or not, when you're connected to the spiritual realm. So it's a challenge for me as well, but I still make it somehow, because I always ask the divine for strength. I ask the divine to help me to keep going, even when I don't see, what I want come to fruition, or when I feel lonely. Because the thing about being a light worker and on your spiritual journey is that, especially at the beginning, when you haven't yet met the right people on your path, you're gonna feel lonely, because it's kind of like you've had to kind of step out from the past tribes that you've been in, or even past partnerships, and you realize that they made up the majority of your life, and you were distracted from your mission, your core reason for being here on earth, because you were so busy living other people's lives, or enmeshed or obsessed with other people's drama. And when that gets taken away from you, when the divine basically strips you bare from all external influences, you're left alone, innocent again, like a baby needing to be reborn, creating and building this new life and foundation for yourself. And then that's when you just have to wait for when others vibrating on your level who are on the same mission are going to show up. But in that little transitory phase, like I've been speaking a lot about, it's like that transitory phase between the dark night of the soul and your final dreams come true, the paradise, the new earth. It's going to feel lonely, because not a lot of people are going to understand you. And leaders tend to be lonely as well, because leaders always have to be on that kind of level up. Now, it doesn't mean that they think they're better than anybody, but you can't be enmeshed with the crowd, because then you get sucked into that, especially if you're an empath. And then you can't be able to be that leader. You understand? So a lighthouse is always alone on the top. The lighthouse person that oversees the lighthouse is always alone in that lighthouse. And the day of the full moon in Scorpio, I actually was guided to watch a movie, and it was Aquaman. I had seen that one in theaters with my little brother last year, but I didn't rewatch it again. And when I rewatched it the second time, I got deeper downloads, and I really was 100% focused on every detail. And you won't believe all the symbols there when it comes to Atlantis and Lemuria, because I was really feeling that mermaid, Atlantis, Lemuria energy very strongly that day. And I talked about that in the bonfire ceremony. And if you realize, this man who married the queen, he was alone his whole life, and he was a lonely lighthouse protector. He protected the light. Eventually, he got his dream come true. His true love came back to him. But after many years, after many struggles, and after his mission was completed, which was to raise Aquaman. That was his mission, to raise him into a man, and to protect him as well, shield him from the other world that would have basically destroyed him because of the circumstances under what he was born, right? He was a child outside of the marriage of the queen, right? She was in an arranged marriage that she was trying to escape, and she couldn't escape the place that she found seclusion in, refugee in, that paradise core of the hidden sea, because she was sacrificed to the trench to be eaten, right? Because she refused to marry the king. And this is also an energy that I feel is going to come up when it comes to Venus retrograde. In what area of your life have you been emotionally abused, forced to do certain things? A lot of domestic violence is popping up to the surface, or even those innate desires to want to harm someone, which is very, distorted. Think the movie like 50 Shades of Grey, right? And this man, Christian Grey, he had a lot of dark, wounds that led to these dark desires when it came to Anastasia. And he expressed this, it was because his mother, had left him and was a drug addict, and he basically had a very hurtful and painful, traumatic upbringing, right? He witnessed domestic violence growing up. And look at this, what I just looked at right now, right? This Jupiter retrograde is compelling us to look back on the beliefs that inform our view of the world. Let us put this Christian Grey as an example. Let him be our case study, right? He viewed the world, aka woman, as needing to be controlled or submitted to the man, the masculine energy, and needing to be punished because of his initial belief, his initial vision that he had as a child when he saw his mother, her needing to be punished because she was a bad mother, and that influenced his future. So a lot of people are also being guided, especially masculines and also feminines, in different ways to ask themselves, what dark beliefs have really been driving my behavior in relationships and the way that I view the opposite gender. Now, in this Venus magazine, I have a special article that I wrote on how to understand the masculine and the feminine energy, the differences and the similarities between them, because this is important if you're to come into union in a partnership. There needs to be a mutual level of understanding and respect. And this is where this is really being called out. The respect towards feminines and masculines, okay? And Venus retrograde obviously is also bringing in this past loves from the past Venus retrogrades that I've been talking about. Anything that happened in the summer of 2004 and 2012, I wrote here, what happened? What did you learn? What could you have done differently? And if presented with the same situation today, how would you react this time? Do you trust yourself? That's a big one there, because these deep shadows rising to the surface, these are the wounds that have been holding you back. But it's like, do you trust yourself to make the right decision this time? That's a big one, because chances are that in the past, you've obviously made mistakes, right? And chances are that you've made the biggest mistakes of your life during these Venus retrogrades. So in the summer of 2004 and 2012. Now, being that we're going to be re-experiencing that Venus retrograde energy now, do you trust yourself that this time you can hold back? This time you can overcome your temptations. This time you can act righteously. That's what we're being called to become aware of, which is powerful. And with this Jupiter retrograde, it's also about this big picture thinking, which I will be talking more closely later down the line as I'm guided to do this long presentation on the big picture. But I have an intro to the big picture that I did a couple months ago on my website. It was a podcast show that I did that day. It's like an hour long, and it's actually with PowerPoints and everything. So I'll link it down below, but you really want to check that video out. It's under my random lessons and lectures playlist and the podcast playlist. Now, when it comes to this big picture thinking, the kind in which we consider our purpose and our guiding passions, what's your intrinsic drive to living, to your goals? You know, these goals have been coming up strong, achieving our goals, but what really is the intention behind the goals? Is there a purpose behind the goals? Is it for you or is it for the world? Okay? You need to develop now more specific, personally tailored definition of satisfaction. What's really going to give you this fulfillment? And this is all of the energy combined, because Jupiter not only is the house of abundance and fortune, but it's also that of fulfillment, because it symbolizes joy and happiness. So what's really the missing piece to your happiness is what's being called out. Okay, what are these deep passions within? Because look at this, on the Scorpio full moon, that day I did my spiritual practice, and I was doing my yoga session in silence and just tuning in with myself. I really felt it was like a shamanic journey that I was on. And I was in the Savasana pose as I was finishing up my practice, and I wake up and I look up at the night sky, and the moon was bloodshot red. And that was only for like a minute, so I caught it right there. So I know that it was significant. I know that the divine showed it to me for a purpose. And when I looked at that moon, I couldn't stop staring at it. It was bloodshot red to me. It looked like blood. And it also reminded me of like fire. It looked fiery, passionate. It's like, you know, this root chakra activation when it comes to our stability, our financial world, our foundations, but also true love. And needing to soften and follow our hearts to give into this true love is the message as well. When it comes to twin flames, when it comes to, you know, your spiritual life partner. And this is significant, especially for Venus retrograde. And also during this, okay, look at this. If you realize that you strayed far from your principles that you once upheld, you're gonna have the choice to correct course or commit to new values that better suit who you are now. Exactly what I said, these deep shadows, right? Do you trust yourself this time? And during Jupiter retrograde, there is no rush. We're being called to slow down, and I've really been feeling that strongly, but also because of the Taurus season. And even, you know, like minor things like, you know, your morning routine, slow down, enjoy the moment, because I've already learned this experience hard. It's like every time I rush my day trying to get everything done, when the end of the day is here, I'm like, okay, I didn't enjoy the day because I was so busy just trying to get to the destination that I forgot to enjoy the journey, which was actually the daily chores, right? Whatever you had to do that day, that is the journey. And that's on a bigger metaphoric scale, because we're being called to enjoy our life journey, not just stay focused on the destination and decide not to be happy until you get there. And I just saw a butterfly out my window. So this is what's going to help us get to that next level and spread our wings and fly. But we need to just enjoy the process. And I know it can get a little frustrating in the meantime, because you want to see the manifestation of your projects, of your dreams, of what you've been working towards. Like I said, it's a life's work. It's not just a project that gets done overnight. So this is something that is going to be very hit hard to your heart to a lot of you, because a lot of you have a lot of passion for what you do for a living. And obviously you feel frustrated when you're not there yet, or when you want to see things come faster than you expect, but that's your expectations getting the best of you, and that's you wanting to have control. So that's where we're being called to let go. And this obviously requires patience and self-awareness, you see. So I couldn't have said it better. So this Jupiter retrograde is also going to be a time of philosophical or spiritual introspection and reflection. Now this is also because we have the North Node in Gemini. So obviously that's what we're being called to do. It's a time to go within, okay? And these next 4 to 5 months, I feel like we're still going to be in this, you know, state that we're in worldwide for this purpose, okay? So see it as a blessing in disguise. In whatever issues or blockages that involves your growth and development, or even your happiness and success, is what's being called to take a look at. So whatever area of growth that you need to work on is so important that extra time is needed to take stock and make sure that everything is in order before you continue. It's like those minor details, and you're also being tested if you're ready to receive this new abundance. Are you truly ready for this success? Because you need to be ready, okay? A lot of, you know, celebrity stars, for example, that were, you know, at their top peak of their fame when they were young, they weren't ready, and that's why, you know, all of this backfired at the end, right? And that's where this can relate to good fortune, new romance, or this increased wealth that you seek. Are you going to be responsible to be able to handle it? Okay, and even to be able to maintain that certain status that you have. So for example, if you get this wealth by building a big business where people follow you and pay you, etc., are you going to be able to show up the times that you're being called to show up? Discipline-wise, religiously, like you committed yourself to? Are you going to truly be able to commit your life to this mission? To be able to sustain this growth, this abundance? Look at this. This can be a shadow that can show up. Perhaps a destructive behavior like greed or addiction is out of control. So Jupiter retrograde will offer a chance to recognize and admit the problem. What is this problem that you really need to be honest with yourself about? This is about transparency and authenticity. This is the full moon in Scorpio also. Shadows coming into play. Things may get so out of control that an intervention or some drastic event must occur to shake you out of your complacency or ignorance. So once Jupiter stations direct, which will be September 12th, you will be ready to leap ahead towards success and happiness. Look at this. I have the chart here for Thursday, May 12th, 2020. It's going to be at 27 degrees of Capricorn. And it also shows that Jupiter is sitting between Saturn and Pluto. So this looks serious and pessimistic, but really it's a harmonious blue trine aspect to the sun. So after these 3 challenging retrogrades in the last 2 weeks, Jupiter retrograde 2020 brings optimism and good fortune. So very interesting, huh? The sun trine Jupiter brings self-confidence, optimism, good fortune, and happiness. This is what's going to get us to overcome the past that's coming back at us. Okay, Saturn retrograde is also karma coming back. Venus retrograde, karmic relationships, karmic people. And Pluto retrograde is basically transforming deeply once and for all from that karma, those lessons that we learned in this lifetime and even past lifetimes. So Jupiter retrograde is the blessing here because it's the biggest planet not only, but it's also kind of like going retrograde to join these other 3 planets, you see, to kind of give it this support system. So it's a blessing because if these other 3 planets were retrograde without Jupiter retrograde, it's like these 3 planets, obviously a retrograde is an illusion, it's not really going backwards, but it's like Jupiter is joining to kind of be like that motherly energy, to be like, it's okay, you can get through this. So we're really being kind of called to connect to nature, Mother Gaia. And if Pluto, Saturn, and Venus were alone in retrograde, this is 2 Capricorns and 1 Gemini. Very masculine energies, and Jupiter is also masculine, but it's like the optimistic masculine, right? It's kind of like a Leo energy. And so it's coming just to like take the reins of it, okay? Kind of like just, I'm looking at kind of like Santa and a sleigh. The one in the front is like Jupiter, the front deer, and is pulling out the other deers out of the snowstorm, okay? Out of that mud. And like, let's get through this together. Let's stay optimistic. You can do this. You're stronger than you think. You get it? But you're being called to get out of your comfort zone, because the other artwork that I have here is that great things never came from comfort zones. Now, Pluto, Saturn, and Venus kind of love to be in comfort zones, especially Venus, right? Venus is all about comfort zones, the luxury of life. You know, some of the shadow aspects of a Venus could be laziness, right? So Saturn also is this tough love teacher that is also providing us that disciplined incentive to keep moving. And now Pluto is the smallest planet, so it has the least influence over all of them. So it doesn't have much saying in this energy. So that's why Jupiter, it's really our our foundation here. Okay, and I also wrote number 4 here because numerology, 4 planets retrograde. It's all about our stability, our comfort zones being challenged, but changed, and risk are required to achieve this ultimate change, revolutionary change, which is what Jupiter rules, right? And with the Uranus and Taurus energy in the background, with this Uranus and Taurus is for the next I believe is how many years is that? So Uranus in Taurus is actually a 6-month transit. I'm going to write that down so I can keep it here because I would like to talk about that a little bit too. And I very much did notice the change in energy on March 2019 because that's when it transited, and it lasts to July 2025. And that's the 4-year phase that I was channeling a lot last year. Obviously, we're also in this Aquarian age, but 2020 to 2024 are the energies that I was channeling as very revolutionary. So this is significant because this is a revolutionary moment in life, in history, on a personal scale and on a global scale. Okay, so this Uranus is the planet of technology, invention, ultra progressive thought, reform, expose, radical activity, revolution, and disruption as well, which Taurus is the ruling sign of money and bank. So check out that video. I did an Age of Aquarius predictions for the next year of 2020 to 2024, and I actually tapped into how the economy is going to come out. So I'm going to rewatch that video. But it also rules our personal values, material goods, food environment, obviously with these unpredictable changes that we've been experiencing more now, right? And it's because Taurus is a little bit stubborn and resistant to change. And that's part of the wounds for people, this stubbornness. And Uranus's journey through Taurus will teach us much about timing, divine timing, discernment, what suits your spiritual journey, what's in alignment and what's not, patience with your projects, with your life, with all, and courage to go for it, right? So it's transformational time. So it's very much, you know, what we're in right now. Now, Uranus can also be our savior, our liberator from past mistakes. It awakens a more radical knowing, enabling us to recalibrate the future, aka these adjustments that we're being called to make, and create a sustainable world to replace a dysfunctional one. So everything that happened before March of 2019, Uranus was in Aries, which was very impulsive, aka very destructive. Okay, because Aries energy, when it comes to the planetary energies, is very impulsive. It doesn't think before it acts. That's why it's very vulnerable to mistakes. So everything that's happened before the year of 2019 has been very karmic, especially when it comes to love and relationships, being resistant to let go of a person that is really not for our highest good. It's not destined to be. And even careers, right? Careers that you thought were your life's path really is not. There's an adjustment required. And I experienced my adjustment in my career area during this time. So it's really amazing, right? To teach us how radically we can transform who we are and what we do when we have a mind to. The lessons of Taurus are how to create security and stability with the spiritual basis behind it, which is what my Lightworker University program is going to be all about, how to spiritually develop a business that's going to bring you abundance and security. And also creating lasting structures that enable growth and development that have been the core challenges of humanity for centuries. So where do we find stability and safety in times like these? Within that peace of a knowing heart, the insight of a sharp mind that refuses to swallow the received wisdom of the day, even that which comes from a more enlightened source. These are really nice questions that you can ask yourself through these times. Perhaps they could be journaling prompts for you guys, because this Uranus and Taurus is really a point of, you know, seeking that stability and fulfillment, seeking joy, fulfillment, and stability. Okay, so let us continue. So the journal prompts that you guys can ask yourself when it comes to this Uranus and Taurus for the next 6 years, basically, what triggers your impulsive side? How do you differentiate impulsive reactivity from the motivation born of authentic alignment with life's creative flow? That's deep. What behaviors do you repeatedly indulge regardless of how poorly they've served you before? What keeps you stuck in these old habits that die hard? This can be addictions as well, coming up strong. Ways of numbing yourself or escaping your reality. Are you ready now to let them go once and for all? How can you best support yourself and others through times of sudden and disruptive change? How do you preserve what matters most and allow the rest to fall away when it must? How do you know what matters most in the first place? Does outer change always require an inner shift and vice versa? So if you want to change a habit in your external reality, does something within need to change first? Or is it not mutual? Is it, separated? No correlation or correlation? How strongly are you identified with the material realm, and what do you do when it falls away? And this is what we're being, as a collective, globally being called to take a look at, because the economy is suffering, right? And Saturn retrograde brings depression on a personal scale and on other areas, right? If you get what I'm saying. Saturn retrograde can cause us to get gloomy as well. So it's important not to get stuck in that. So Jupiter retrograde is kind of like here to save the day, but you need to be open. You need to open the door. You need to, when Jupiter comes knocking, you need to be willing to open the door, because there are hidden opportunities that you can take during this time that will prevent you from getting into a depression. Okay? And this also has to do with finance. There are ways of creatively adjusting to the flow of the energy. How strongly are you identified with the material realm, and what do you do when it falls away? Are you seeking truth with a capital T, or only the truths that suit your personal agenda? Now, this is the theme for this month of May. Prophets over profits. So prophet meaning speaking the truth without seeking money in return, without seeking some self-serving return. Okay, because these blessings will be returned to you regardless, when you least expect it from the universe. And are you prepared to make the sacrifices that truth may demand? See, letting go of what might hurt you to let go, what you once felt emotionally attached to, but you're now being revealed truths about that attachment, so it's not going to feel painful to let go. Because once you see the truth, you see it for what it is. And I feel like this has a lot to do with connections from the past that perhaps you were, once thought they were perfect, or they were, I don't know, just so good, but rather now you're seeing the flaws, and now you're being disillusioned by what you thought it was when really it was not. And what happens when you have to make them anyway? Alright, so I'm actually going to now take a look at these other notes. I have a book here that I was looking into yesterday, and I was getting some down notes as well when it comes to these 4 planets retrograde. Let us look at Pluto. Pluto when a planet is also retrograde, it's important to note that basically the energy is more intensified. So it's important to know what Pluto stands for. You see, because Pluto has to do with renewal, healing, regeneration, purging, a lot of emotional purges. Okay, the other day I found myself crying for no reason as I was watching this movie, Aquaman. And that's what it is, like, it's like these last little tears. It's like when you're kind of like, you know, doing this to a really wet cloth. It's like those last little tears that is being pushed out of us. And it's also linked to the hidden, the occult, the taboo, and even the shameful. So some deepness, you know, this is full moon in Scorpio again. It's like, what darkness is arising out of people? And obviously more people are starting to believe in the occult from ancient wisdom, the hidden, which I also think is symbology in the movie Aquaman, where this woman, the queen, she was in the hidden sea for like 20 years. And guess what? You know, Saturn's transits are usually 18 to 20 years. And that's significant in a way, you see. A lot of maturity is coming up. People are becoming adults, realizing what it takes to become an adult, becoming more responsible, taking responsibility for our past actions, and also being responsible and disciplined with our mission. Now, some of Saturn's negative human feelings can be depression, betrayal, isolation, which is what we're in. So I believe that by September 28th, things are going to be out in the open. We're going to be able to be more free, collectively, if you know what I mean. It also relates to fear and rigidity, kind of feeling constricted in your space. That's obvious, right? Saturn return, this is what it is. Every 29 to 30 years in your chart is what brings questions to you about what it means to be an adult, how you're meeting your responsibilities, or what you want to be when you grow up. Scorpio energy that we're experiencing is about developing this deep inner strength, these qualities that we need in order to be successful, courage to go for it, and surviving in our own skin. So this is a lot about independence. Okay, can we survive on our own, or do we need to be dependent on other people around us? So a lot of relationships that are codependent are being called out as well. That's why they're falling out, because they're not meant to be like that. That's not part of your journey, to stay stuck in a codependent situation. You need to fend for yourself. Any control issues, aka this domestic violence, there's been a lot of that also, like, you know, policemen been reporting more of those incidents, which I don't think is a coincidence, because the more that people are constrained within their homes, a lot of them don't know how to deal with these energies, and that's because they're not awakened. So, you know, that's where, you know, you can save yourself from some of that. And this super moon that we had obviously brought a lot of intense emotions and passions. That's why it was bloodshot red, because it's all about passion, right? So I think that's cool. We do have now the moon in Sagittarius. I'm pretty sure. Which is a desire to expand and see the world for what it is, to know more. North Node and Gemini speaking as well. Let's look at the chart for today. Actually, the moon is in Capricorn. The south node is in Sagittarius, like we said, and yeah. So with the moon in Capricorn, it's obviously at a fall position because the moon doesn't like to be in Capricorn. Feels constricted. Perhaps also constricted when it comes to our emotions. A lot of emotional abuse. I've been feeling that strongly. Because when you're emotionally abused, you're basically not being allowed to feel what you feel, right? And we're being asked how we can create more harmonious and loving connections. How have you been allowing this to take place? Perhaps how have you not been standing up for yourself? Seeking out support system, being open to possibilities of a new partnership, new soul tribes, encouraging one another rather than rivaling against one another, seeking wise counsel and advice. We're also being kind of like fatally brought together with new spiritual teachers that's going to help us on the next phase of our journey. That's coming up strong. And you know, obviously building up this new abundance and wealth in our life that's divinely guided, that has integrity, and that is justly built. Now on the opposite side, if this has been one of your inner issues, it could be feeling entitled, self-righteous, opportunistic, aka misusing of power, pompous, which is just basically over conceited or overextended, or greedy. That's obviously, it's like, what are you going to choose, love or fear? Your ego or your higher self, right? Now I want to finish something, and obviously with our values and self-worth, ruled by Taurus and Venus, this is huge. Our values and self-worth in relationships, when it comes to how we make money, how we are independent, because if we're not in that position, those are probably some of the subconscious wounds that are incomplete for you to progress to the next phase of your journey, to receive this abundance. You really can't define yourself and your worth by how much money you make, or how much status you have, or how well known you are, or how well your business is doing, because that is a subconscious wound that is actually blocking you. This is going to be very difficult because it's like, how do I explain this? You know, it's difficult But I've kind of been mastering this on my own life. You know, it's risky to surrender, okay? Let me tell you, because true surrender is risky, okay? And I know how weird that sounds, but this is what it is. When you surrender to like doing what you're being guided to do without having a certain knowing that you're gonna be stable in that job or in what you're saying or where you're giving your energy and time to. First of all, when you're on your mission, time is irrelevant, right? It's the energy that you put into it, because it's like, where are you putting your energy into? Time is irrelevant because time is an illusion, and this is a life's work of mission. This is not something that's just, you know, like 3 hours a day and I'll be done. You know, no, it's like, it's how do I explain this? God help me. It's like it's an all-day thing, okay? It's your energy, because you're always thinking about this, you're always channeling information, you're always feeling it. It's who you are now. It's what you do. It's everything that you do, everything that you embody. Sometimes, like last night, for example, I was ready to go to sleep, and the divine just woke me up in the middle of the night, had me do a few adjustments to something of my project, and for some reason I had to do that. It's like sometimes you just feel like, you know, the divine's taking over you and doing it for you, even though you're tired and you don't want to do it, but you're still doing it because you know you have to do it. So it's kind of like the energy. It's not like I planned it, like a time thing. It's not like from 8 to 5 I'm going to work and that's it. When it comes to life work mission, sometimes time can be out of whack, right? And that's where we're being called to surrender as well, you know, to divine timing, and not putting our whole expectation to it, because remember that sometimes the gift comes at the very end, you know, as kind of like disillusionment as that can cause right now, right? Even to myself, because sometimes I just want to experience it now. I want to be with my lover now, and I want to do things that sometimes what I feel like this can, the reason why I'm being guided to share this personal experience is because maybe it resonates with you. Sometimes I'm just like, I just want to finish this so that I can stop, you know what I mean? Like, just but there's always something new popping up. And this is where it becomes a never-ending journey. Like, sometimes I just want to stop working already, or I want to finish this project so that I can just play and just have time to just relax and unwind. But there's always something next to do, and that's okay, as long as you don't let it overwhelm you, okay? Because this journey is a long one, and there's always going to be something to do. Even if when you're in union with your divine partner, you're going to have a mission together. It's going to be non-stop work. Lightworker mission is not about just relaxing. You get these breaks in between, which is what Jupiter brings, right? Are these breaks in between to enjoy the luxury of life. So it's about learning how to balance our life. With the Venus energy into play, especially after it comes back station, so June 25th, basically at the beginning of summer solstice, it's gonna be like this true break now to really enjoy, because Venus is all about enjoying the moment, you know, spending time in nature. I feel like a lot of us, perhaps beaches are gonna be open by that time, because you don't know how badly I've been craving to go to the beach. And it's been a while, you know, it's been a while. And ever since I got on this mission, you know, ever since I started this mission, August 2019, I have not been to the beach. And pre that, I would spend time at the beach like basically every week. So it's been a while, and I'm very connected to the ocean. You know, I'm lucky that I have access to a view of the ocean, but I haven't physically been in the ocean for quite a while. And you know, that innate part of me that really connects to the ocean, to this ancient Lemurian and Atlantic lineage and just mermaid energy, is really missing it, right? It's really longing for the ocean. So I've been giving myself a lot of water therapy, which is basically, you know, long baths, showers, and it really makes me feel better. So perhaps that can help you, because with this purging energy of Pluto retrograde, you're gonna need that water therapy, okay? You're gonna need that grounding spiritual practice to get you back aligned and not let you forget the bigger picture, which is Saturn energy, right? Saturn is all about the bigger picture. It's like that disciplinary teacher, like, don't forget what you're really here to do. It's like that army guy, right? It's like the general in command, and it doesn't care how you feel. It just wants you to get it done. But since we have, you know, Saturn and Pluto retrograde together are very hardcore, right? These deep transformations, get it done because it's part of your mission. That's what you're here to do. What do you think, you know, who do you think you are? But with this Venus there in the mix, it kind of brings in the beauty in the moment, being in the present moment, and also realizing that we do deserve to enjoy the luxuries of life. We deserve true love, and Jupiter will bring those opportunities into your life. But you need to be willing to take it, and you need to know your self-worth enough, which is Uranus and Taurus. Do you deserve this? Do you believe deep down inherently that you deserve it? Because if you don't, subconsciously you're going to repel it and self-sabotage any progress. So that's really the challenge. The challenge is that it's within. It's our own deep wounds. Think of the movie Black Swan again. All of her fears were self-made. Okay, everybody was actually cheering her on. They wanted her to just do it because it was getting painful to watch her suffer so much in her own mind. You see, and that's what causes these mental health issues. It's self-imposed. These little, you know, dark entities, because that's what it is. A dark thought is a dark entity. Really let go of those toxic thoughts and realize that if you're having any weird dreams, always see the positive aspect to it, okay? Because I really feel that a lot of us are getting a lot of brain upgrades, okay? Really deeply, because think of it. With this mermaid energy that's been channeled, along with mermaids comes dolphins. Now dolphins use 99% of their brain. Their brain neurons are highly activated. Perhaps all 12 strands of DNA, which I talked about in a previous video. Which maybe I should talk about it now, but it was in a Cosmic Consciousness episode, the last episode, that is available in my School of Light library. And we're being upgraded. That's what it is. That's all we need to realize. That, you know, when you get abducted by aliens in your dreams or such, you're actually being upgraded. They're here to help us, okay? The Palladian energy is here to tell us that. And I'm actually going to bring in my red notebook. That's what I'm being called to talk about, okay? I'm going to go over with you the 12 strands of DNA, and that's how we're going to end today's video, because this is what's happening on the collective level. We're being upgraded, okay? And if you're not at the levels of the higher vibrations and frequencies, then you're being called to level up, okay? And really look within. So during these 4 to 5 months, I really think it's going to be beneficial to you either grab your old journal in your storage or in your nightstand that you haven't looked at for ages, or get a new one, okay? And get out your favorite pen or pencil and always put it visible so that you can always write. I have mine there always, but I don't write on it every day. So I'm going to be writing on it more as well. And I used to write like a lot of poems there too. So be creative, tune into your artistic side. So let us talk about these 12 strands of DNA. So number 1, the first strand, 1D, is the integration of fear. Number 2, as we level up higher a little bit, is the ability to focus on an aspect and follow it to completion. This is the achievement of goals that I've been channeling. Letting go of fear and moving into spiritual knowing, self-confidence, and determination to go after it, your mission. Number 3, upholding of gender balance, which is a Hermetic principle. Okay, there is the principle of gender. I've been reading over that book again, and I'm going to do a special spiritual book club session there. So if you want to talk about it with me and discuss it, join the discussion group, then make sure that you become a member. It's about upholding gender balance of masculine and feminine within, the yin and the yang. Where are you overlacking? This is the kind of like the Libra energy as well. Are you overly masculine and is your feminine energy from within down here? Or are you overly feminine and not manifesting because your masculine energy is down here? We are being called to level up so we can have an equal balance of masculine and feminine from within, not from external. Because that is the secret to attracting a true love first. You need to first be whole within. You need to be healthy spiritually of an equal balance of masculine and feminine. So you need to be intuitive enough to take action that's divinely guided and manifest this spiritual truth into reality. Your mission, basically. So that's what my program is going to be about, my Lightworker University program. Number 4, the equilibrium between our energy field and the physical body. Again, this is about our vibration, our pH as well. This is about health and balance, health and wellness, our spiritual alignment. And number 5 is to live peacefully in a state of acceptance. And I feel like that's where the Lightworker community is. This is the split of reality. The people who are in the 3D are still trying to, achieve their self-serving goals with no spiritual based intention behind it. Whereas the 5D group are learning to live in peace despite the chaos externally and accept it for what it is. Accepting the journey for what it is. Now, for those of you who have been having massive, vivid dreams, are really connecting to the divine, have a true purpose here on earth, and feel like you're fulfilling your calling. Because if you're not fulfilling the calling, you can just be a follower in the spiritual realm, and that's okay. But I feel like if you're meant to be a leader in the spiritual world, community, then you're going to obviously be activating higher levels of strands of DNA. So this is where we progress up to 6D all the way to 12D. Because the DNA's purpose is to understand ascension and the awakening process. And this is also where your light code activations come in. So if you progress higher in the 6D, this is about the strengthening of the spine to stand in one's truth. Yellow energy, which now I know why I was guided to this. Even wearing yellow eyeshadow, because it made me feel more joyful. I wanted to feel happy, tune into this Leo optimistic energy. And it's also about our throat chakra, being strong enough to stand in the spiritual truth despite what people say, despite the controversy, despite the retaliation, despite the attacks to you, which really is to the divine, because you're just the messenger, you see. Number 7 is the ability to accept the dark and the light. This goes hand in hand with embodying peace when we accept the light and the dark. This is the Hero's Gamos Hermetic principle. As above, so below, but also dark and white. Embodying both aspects from within, because like I said in the video of the spiritual full moon ritual for Scorpio, in the movie The Black Swan, she was once this white swan, very timid, very innocent, but very weak because she was too vulnerable. But when she embodied her black swan from within, she became fearless and she conquered all that she knew she could conquer, but she didn't have the guts to do so in her timid self. When she embodied that root chakra and solar plexus from within, she remembered who she was, the black energy, which is Earth Star chakra as well. And she had help from ancestral energy, spirit guides, and her true self. And then she became this beautiful white light worker at the end. And that's how she revolutionary caught the attention of the crowd. The crowd was crying. They realized how beautiful was that, right? Even the mother that didn't believe in her or had like these, didn't understand what she was going through, she once understood then in that moment. You saw her bawling in tears, right? So I feel like this is accepting the dark and the light within us, not being shameful because of that, our past mistakes. Forgiveness will set us free. That was the energy of this weekend message. Forgiveness will set us free. So that's hand in hand with the ability to accept light and dark. So I'm going to write that because that has to do with forgiveness and compassion. Jesus energy, right? That's the only way that we can accept dark and light. Then number 8 is the capacity to hold personal boundaries, assertiveness, solar plexus energy. And also, if you're an empath, being assertive enough to not absorb the collective energies or even the energies around you and not letting it drain you of your light. How to protect your aura, withstand the high vibrations despite anything going on around you. That takes a lot of assertiveness and practice, okay? Because not everybody can do that yet. And that's what we're being called to level up as light workers, because if you get influenced by the external realities or the lower energies, or even just fearful energies that don't know any better, ignorance, right? Then you are basically sabotaging the mission, because now you can't be a light worker to be trusted because you're being affected by the energies. So it's kind of like you're being unreliable. So this is the capacity to hold personal boundaries as a leader. Leadership skills, that's what I'm feeling. Do you really have what it takes to be that leader in the midst of the crowd? Not just when you're alone, but actually out in the open, okay? Because yes, it's easy to put yourself in a bubble, shielded from the outside world, but what happens when you're being called to get into the world again? Are you going to be able to withstand and uphold that light? And obviously it's okay to take time to recharge, but we're also being called to come out into the open and share this knowledge. Number 9 is the ability to accept and live in a diverse community, aka accept the outside world that is not all at the level of the higher vibrations. That's what makes you a leader, because you're obviously on top, you're the lighthouse. You need to be willing to accept the turmoil in the ocean as well. Not get overly emotionally attached or affected by it though. That's the boundaries, right? Just because, let's say, humanity perhaps is falling off track or experiencing a downfall, you are the witness and the outside observer that is objective and unaffected, but that's it. You're the narrator, right? You're the narrator and you're the observer. You're not in the movie. You're not in the story. You're not a character in the story. You're just a storyteller, okay? So that's significant for a lot of you out there who have this spiritual mission to be a leader. Number 10, and obviously not to get also frustrated if people are not receptive to your messages. That goes hand in hand to raising your vibrations. You need to get into that acceptance mode. Number 10 is the capability and capacity to listen and to tune into the higher self. This obviously requires being in a higher vibration. Okay, you need to be pure in your aura. You need to be completely clear in your sacred temple to channel these crystal messages. All right? So this is about aura purification. Cleansing and alignment. So basically, make sure that you always partake in your spiritual practice. That truly gets me aligned every day. I have to meditate every morning. If not, I really feel like something's off in my energy because I'm more vulnerable to the energy. So I always ask for protection from the energies collectively that are not mine, so that I can just be the observer and not get enmeshed and tangled up in the drama, okay? 11. Okay, so the 11th strand is the command over oneself to envision, create, and manifest the vision of the 3D. Now, I directly correlate this to spiritual discipline. And obviously manifestation, visualization, and anchoring that we've been learning in my new U10-week soul coaching program. But this really requires spiritual discipline. Staying focused on the bigger picture. You see, bigger picture. So you might want to rewind this section and write this in your notes so that you can always be reminded of these 12 strands of DNA. Because whatever vision you're being given by the divine to create in this 3D world so that it can benefit humanity, you need to be able to do this. And this requires being a manifestor machine, an alchemist. So I'm going to put alchemy here, alchemist, alchemy. Alchemizing this new reality, making your dreams come true. So if you're at this level, you're really high up, okay? And then finally, the 12D strand. And this also has to do with telepathy, you know, 11. Because you're manifesting a message to the other soul, you get it? So telepathy and astral traveling, all of these spiritual gifts have to do with this 11D strand. Because if you want to manifest yourself somewhere else, spiritually in your soul, or with your lover, connecting to them on the spiritual ether realms, then this is why. Because you have this command over yourself to envision where you want to be, create this union telepathically, and manifest this vision, whether it's in dream state or whether it's in the physical realms. So it's beautiful. And then 12D strand is the ability to be accepting, kind, and to hold appreciation for all things and to see all things in the spiritual eyes of unconditional love. So this is about oneness, cosmic mission, and there's another word that wanted to come through. Oh, ahimsa, which is, this is a yogi term, which basically means appreciation for all things, including nature, animals, and people alike, and even things. Like, I respect this thing, you see, because that's kind of like an energy thing. By you respecting and taking care of your things, it's gonna bring you abundance. This is also regarding to cleanliness. You know, godliness is cleanliness. If you want your business to manifest, make sure to keep it clean, spiritually and also physically. Clean up your space, your sacred temple. If you're feeling fogged up or a little bit emotionally tumultuous from within, are you living in a clean house, a clean room? Are your airs filtered? Things like that. You really have to get deep within. Make sure that your space is spotless. I always do this, and it really lightens up the energy. And feng shui, which is that May energy that came through in the May monthly astrology video, and you want to check out, move things around. Clean up behind furniture where you usually don't move it. Take the extra energy to move it around. And let me tell you, it's a good workout as well. But do it for the energy, okay? Because I really feel that it's gonna clear up bogged up energy, especially if you're experiencing a lot of tension when it comes to family dynamics or domestic violence issues or potentials. Do that. Practice feng shui. Move furniture around. Clean, clean, clean. That's coming up strong for people. Don't be lazy, okay? Just because you're at home doesn't mean that you can just lay around and do nothing, okay? Work on manifesting a new career if you've lost your job, or if you're being called to change paths. Whatever it is, this time is a crucial time that we're in, okay? Are all your relationships in line and respecting your values, your worth, your boundaries, spiritually? Are they on the same path? Do they believe the same thing as you? Are they on mission? Are they spiritually strong? All of these questions, and I don't want to be making this too long. I am getting hungry, and so it is time for me to eat and get my meal, because yeah, I don't know how even long I spent talking here, but I really felt called to do this message ASAP as soon as I woke up. So I got this done, making sure that nothing got in the way of this video, and I really felt like I discovered a lot of things, and if I'm guided to talk about this more later on, I'm going to be doing more of these random lectures and talks with you guys, and future ones will also be live streamed on my Facebook, so make sure that you join me and follow me on my Facebook and my Instagram and my YouTube channel mainly, and you subscribe to my newsletter on my website, because I'm always posting blogs, I'm always having upcoming events and keeping you updated on what's going on. So really make sure that you do that. Make sure that you also check out the May monthly blog. That's what I wanted to look at today. That's what I'm being called to do. Let me look at the blog, because the blog has information today. I'm going to read over the blog today. And make sure that you also follow me on my Wix app. So if you can, if you want to get easier access to all my blogs, the group posts that I do, to basically show you what I've been working on my groups, and the forum discussion, which I renamed it chat, because there you can send me all your questions when it comes to the love show that I'll be having every week, that I have every week. Send me your questions on the discussion group there, which is basically labeled the love show, and other questions that you want answered in upcoming Q&As that I'll be doing. You can send me your questions there, and I will always be looking at it. So I'm going to actually I'm actually creating the group right now, but I'm going to be reading to you here what I wrote, because I sometimes do best when I read to you what I wrote. So this is what I wrote in the article. That's the latest blog that I have. May was named after Maya, the Greek goddess of fertility. It's also known as Taurus season. Taurus as a sign and time is directly linked with beauty. So finding your own self-beauty, self-worth issues, self-beauty, self-confidence, health and wellness. The flowers that grace us this month are more than just pretty faces. They are purifying in many ways. So this is about blossoming in the most authentic, beautiful way, spreading our wings and flying by purifying the past, aka this Pluto retrograde, right? Taurus season is one where we are asked to examine our resources, which is Jupiter here, offering these opportunities, and celebrating the great mother to whom we all belong, because Jupiter, again, the mother planet, right? This month's main themes are that of feng shui to increase positive energy in your sacred home, and sanctuary, making space for the flow of abundance to enter. We're also being called to collaborate, soul tribes coming together, gatherings with like-minded individuals, and connect to your soul tribe while remaining open-minded to new ideas and inspirations. So being open-minded, not so fixed, because Saturn retrograde is letting go of that fixed energy of Saturn in Capricorn. Because Saturn in Capricorn is very fixed, doesn't want to change. We need to kind of make adjustments and get out of our comfort zones and get out of our own way mentally, you see, that are being sparked after much needed self-care and realignment. We're being asked to think outside the box by connecting to spirit and tuning within with the divine. We're also feeling stimulated. Ow, I hurt myself. We're also feeling stimulated. Okay, so we're also being stimulated and motivated by tangible results and real solutions. This is the time to connect to past ancestral lineages and discover new things about your past. This is the time to make new plans and strategies for this new life ahead. new foundations, new building of cement and brick walls. And letting go of those that are blocking the abundance, like letting go of any walls that you've put up in your heart when it comes to love. Trust issues being resolved. Forgiveness will clear the air, will make you for light. And this month, we're also being reminded that we have the power to change ourselves and the world around us, which is Pluto Retrograde. But we must unite and make moves right now, for there is no sign or time as tenacious and resourceful as Taurus and Taurus season. So for the next month, let's see what we can all do to make a difference. This is about rising together as well in soul tribes, coming together to make this revolutionary change. This month of May, we're also going to see many planets go retrograde, which I go in specific in the video forecast, which is free now on my YouTube channel. Remember that retrogrades are simply a change in energy and can be used effectively. You see, with the current astrological activities, this month is the perfect time for strategizing and becoming the architect of our future. So creating these new blueprints, new strategy plans, when you're thinking now more far ahead and you have more details and tools in your toolbox now to be more specific in these plans. But make specific plans and then stick to them, because just as important as it is to make a commitment to a goal, it's just as important, if not more, to follow through. So this is especially true when it comes to your spiritual mission. Remember that you are a warrior of light, and we are brought here down to earth to spread the light and rise in our leadership position as light workers to show the way. So take a look at my spiritual book club and go over the book of the Warrior of the Light. It's only 5 episodes. I really suggest you take a look at that. It's going to teach you how to be a warrior of light. Now the mantra of the month is enjoy the journey, not just the destination. And the affirmation of the month is I am present in the moment. So very beautiful. Okay, and here I go overview all the planets in transits, overview specifically. So take a look at this blog, because it's really specific. So May 2nd, Pluto retrograde in Capricorn. May 5th, lunar node shift, North Node in Gemini, South Node in Sag. May 6th, North Node in Gemini retrograde. So this one also went retrograde, the North Node. May 7th, supermoon in Scorpio. May 11th, Saturn retrograde in Aquarius. May 11th, again, Mercury in Gemini, which is the home sign and especially extra potent. May 13th, Venus retrograde in Gemini. It's a lot of Gemini energy, a lot of knowledge, intellectual perspective for 6 weeks. May 13th, Venus retrograde squares Neptune in Pisces. May 13th, Mars in Pisces, which is in the fall position. Because Mars' home sign is Aries and fire. When it's in Pisces, we're being called to go within and kind of halt and bid your time instead of impulsively taking action towards any project or new relationship for that matter. May 14th, Jupiter retrograde in Capricorn. May 15th to May 22nd, Sun is going to be trining Pluto, Jupiter, and Saturn, which they're all retrogrades. So this is giving extra emphasis on our self-identity, self-worth, and leadership skills. So it's just highlighting the energy. But May 22nd, which is this new one in Gemini, is going to be the turning point, okay, where doors are going to be reopened and we're being called to communicate now, especially Gemini season. It's going to be all about these new loves, flirtiness in the air, communication. And May 28th, Mercury in Gemini. So again, in his home sign, it's going to be conjuncting the North Node in Gemini. So very much a lot of new communication, Gemini season. So as we approach Gemini season, we're being called to take it slow and steady, take it easy, go within, nourish ourselves, our souls, and focus on our self-worth and beauty from within. And respect ourselves, okay? Don't settle anymore or allow anything from the past that didn't once respect you. Okay, so that's going to be it for today. Join me in the next talk. I will be notifying you all, and I'm wishing you all an amazing and beautiful day. Thank you for please liking, sharing, and subscribe to my YouTube channel, and follow me on all my social media. Namaste.